Psalm 121. A bit unplanned, I think, but we have already been singing about Christians on a journey that will take them to a river. 1678, John Bunyan published a book about a journey called The Pilgrim's Progress. Quickly became popular throughout England, and today its influence is still felt. It's commonly considered the second most popular book, if you're looking at in terms of sales and influence in the whole world, second only to the Bible. It's been translated into over 200 different languages. It was a favorite book of Charles Spurgeon's, who by his own admission said that he read The Pilgrim's Progress over 100 times. Bunyan wrote that book mostly while he was in prison in Bedford, England. He was imprisoned because he was a Baptist preacher in a time when the Anglican Church was considered to be the only legal church. The story, many of you are, I'm sure, familiar with it, is an allegory that points towards spiritual realities. The main character, Christian, undertakes a journey to the celestial city during which he ascends hills, he endures doubt, he overcomes deception, undergoes trials, and he narrowly escapes his own execution. It's meant to reflect the spiritual journey of Christians. And that's perhaps one of the reasons it was very popular, because it resonates with Christians who understand themselves to be on a journey. A journey resonates with people. Bunyan writes there in the book, I seek a place. Even in those words, you get the sense of a journey. I seek a place that can never be destroyed, on thee that is pure and that fadeth not away. And it is laid up in heaven and safe there to be given at the time appointed to them that seek it with all their heart. Read it so, if you will, in my book. The journey of the Christian. Psalm 121 is a pilgrim's song. Psalm 121 is a pilgrim's song. It shows us again that the people of God are on a journey. There's journeying language that we'll encounter here. This is a journey that's sometimes difficult. You're going to come to the mountains, you're going to walk through the valleys, you're going to go through the deserts. But in all of this, Psalm 121 is reminding us that along the way there is a God who is always a faithful helper. The psalm teaches you that the godly man, the godly woman finds help in the Lord during this journey, and it demonstrates for us and shows us that the Lord is your greatest helper. He is your sufficient helper. He is the superior helper to anything else that you would find within all of creation. Help is found in Him. Let's read Psalm 121, a song of ascents. I will lift up my eyes to the mountains. From where shall my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to slip. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade on your right hand. The Lord will not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will protect you from all evil. He will keep your soul. The Lord will guard your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forever. Note the subscript, a song of ascents. This is a pilgrim's song. Ascent, as you know, is an act of rising or climbing or journeying, if you will, upwards. If you look at Psalm 120 before this, through the psalm that we read a minute ago during our scripture reading, Psalm 130, all the way to Psalm 134, you'll see that subscript shows up again and again. They are songs of ascent. It is readily thought that these make up a series of psalms that the people of God would sing as they undertook their journey towards Jerusalem for each of the 3 festivals that they were required to attend there as they came to the holy city each year. So you would have heard what we just read a moment ago. from Psalm 130 and Psalm 121 here being sung as they, the people of God, came from all these different places throughout the land, and they made their way up there, ascending to the city of God to worship. It is a pilgrim's psalm. It is a psalm for sojourners. And it begins there in verse 1 with those words, I will lift up my eyes to the mountains. First two verses there in the first person, telling us what the psalmist is doing. That's going to shift as it goes along, purposefully shifting to the third person. Then talking about you, as the psalmist speaking to you, the one that's reading it. Lift up my eyes to the mountains. There's a purposeful act being described there by the psalmist of looking up, looking for someone, looking for something. And people have read that and come up with, wrestle with different meanings. What does that mean? What is the psalmist looking for? Did the psalmist lift his eyes up here to the mountains out of fear and out of dread, fearing the dangers that lurk in such places as the mountains as you would near Jerusalem there? Is he expressing that he sees in the distance there as he looks up to the mountains the threats from robbers who live in such places? Or maybe as he's looking up, he sees those idol worshipers who worship in the high places. Or maybe he sees boulders looming overhead that threaten his life. Or maybe he even considers then that the spot that he's in, that there's ravines off to the side and that there's danger all around him. Is that what leads him to ask the question there in the second half of verse 1, from where shall my help come? Or is he expressing something altogether different? Is he expressing that as he comes here near the holy city and seeing those hills surrounding Jerusalem, his thoughts there are turned to his God, who has journeyed with him all along the way, who has protected him, who has provided for him, and who he anticipates journeying with him throughout the rest of his life? This view that's the majority view, because it fits within what you find throughout all of the Psalms. Whenever you have one looking up to the mountains. Psalm 2, verse 6, you'll remember is the Lord's anointed king is installed upon, in the psalm there, verse 6, Zion, my holy mountain. You have Psalm 68, verse 16, speaks of the mountain that God has desired for his abode where he will dwell forever. You have Psalm 123, verse 1, where the psalmist is again lifting his eyes up. To you I lift my eyes up, he says. Oh, you who are enthroned in the heavens. You have Isaiah chapter 2, verse 3. The people are expressing they want to go up to the mountain of the Lord. This is where they anticipate him being, to the house of the God of Jacob. So I give you all that because I think that's what the psalmist is looking for in this journey, is he's lifting his eyes up to the mountains, because as he's lifting his eyes there to the mountains, that's where he expects the Lord to be. His eyes are intentionally looking upward when he asks that rhetorical question that comes in verse 1, from where shall my help come? Look at that word, my help. Help is the Hebrew word hazer. One Hebrew scholar notes the word help in English fails to capture the fullness of the meaning implied by the Hebrew term hazer. The English word help can be understood as mere assistance, but such an understanding falls short of the claim being made by the psalmist. So what does help mean? What does the psalmist have in mind when he's speaking of where does my help come? Well, perhaps we can get a more robust sense of what he's asking by considering other places where that same word help shows up again in the Psalms. We'll do a bit of a word study here. Psalm 10, verse 14. We are told that the Lord is the helper of the orphan. He is the helper of those that are most vulnerable, the helper of those who are most needy, the helper of those who are most at risk. He's the helper of those who are most unable to repay him. So he helps those that he's helping in that moment, knowing he's not going to get anything in return. He is a selfless, loving, caring helper. If you look in Psalm 20, verse 3, the Lord sends help in the day of trouble. This is help that's relief. This is help that's aid and it's support in the most distressing days of his people. If you look in Psalm 22, verse 11, it's used again. The Lord is near, and he's near to help when nobody else is there. This is the help that's present and that it's active and that it expresses he truly cares, that all else may leave you, but he will not leave you. He is near you always. If you look in Psalm 28, verse 7, the Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him. And what does the psalmist say? I am helped. I am help. This is help that affects the heart of his people because he is strong and he is protective and he defends them. This is help that gives you assurance and confidence and comfort and peace. If you look in Psalm 33, verse 20, the Lord helps the soul. It's as though he's a balm for the soul. He heals the soul. He soothes the soul. He restores the soul. Only he can help in that way. Where are you going to go to find that kind of help? Psalm 37, verse 40, the Lord helps by delivering the psalmist from the wicked. So the rhetorical question there that's being asked in the second half of verse 1 is far greater than, from where shall my assistance come? No, the rhetorical question there is more like this. Where shall relief and aid and support in distressing days come? Where shall comfort and care come in my most vulnerable moments? Where shall a helping hand come when everyone else has left me? Where shall rescue come when enemies surround me? Where shall hope come when my situation seems absolutely hopeless? Where will physical, emotional, and all, most importantly, spiritual help come? Those are real questions for anybody that's on a journey. Those are real questions for the Christian that's on a journey, that's going to go through all those moments that we talked about a little bit ago, a long way from home, asking that question, from where shall my help come? The answer comes in the second half of the first half of verse 2. My help comes from the Lord, Yahweh. Friend, would you just note verse 2? This is the central truth that is burning brightly for you to see at the very center of this psalm. My help comes from the Lord. There's your theme for the psalm. This man knows the Lord, and he looks to him for help. Confident. He's sure Yahweh will help me. He has helped me before. I know who Yahweh is. He will help me again. My help comes from the Lord. This is what the whole psalm is about. The godly pilgrim looks for the Lord to help him. The godly pilgrim looks for the Lord on his journey where he's going to find himself in all sorts of situations. What is the psalm teaching us? The psalm is teaching all of us, you can look to the Lord for help. Help for the sojourner is found in Yahweh the Lord. And you, Christian, you are a sojourner. You are a pilgrim in this world. And you must know that you have divine help, a guardian of your soul as you journey throughout this life. Any Christian with any sort of spiritual awareness ought to be able to relate with that pilgrim's journey. All Christians, Hebrews 11:13, are sojourners in this world. You are exiles on the earth. You're on your way to a heavenly country. Hebrews 11:16, you're looking for a heavenly city. And if you don't know it yet, you will need help. You were created as one who would require help. And the psalmist here is showing you where help is found. Now, the question that the rest of the psalm is going to help us answer is, why does he look to the Lord for help? Why doesn't he look somewhere else for help? He gives you here 6 reasons that the Lord is superior to any other source of help. Number 1, help is found here in the Almighty Creator. My help, essentially, we could look at this as from. My help is from the Almighty Creator, verse 2. Verse 2, my help comes from the Lord who did what? Made heaven and earth. The psalmist is proclaiming the essential truth that the heavens and earth, they didn't just spring into being on their own, and neither did they somehow always exist within eternity past. Not at all. The helper of the psalmist here is the one who made them. The helper of the psalmist made the heavens and the earth. Friends, do you see how Darwinian evolution would be taking your helper from you? You don't have a helper anymore. There is nobody who made the heavens and the earth. Of course, what the psalmist is saying here is just simply stating what's true from Genesis 1, so we know he knows the Word of God. He takes it for what it says. He believes it. He's not trying to wrestle and reconcile it and make it say something else. He believes it for what it says. He is the God who made heaven and earth. Why would you bring that up here in this psalm where you're talking about the one who helps you? Because the reason that you need help is almost always because of something within creation. Floods and famines and people and relationships and governments and illness and sickness and on and on and on. When you think about why is it that you need help, most often it relates to something in creation. You need help from the one who's not subject to creation. So who is sovereign? Who has authority? Who is in control over all things that exist within creation? The answer is found here, the Creator God. He's the psalmist's help. But there's another reason he brings up creation in regards to the Lord being the help of his people. If you look for help in any other place apart from him, wherever you find help, that's contained within and subject to creation. If you look for other men to help you, guess what? They will need help. If you look to other things to help you, and books to help you, and people to help you, they need help. And if you look to the gods of the world, guess what? They're subject to creation because some man created them. And if you have a wrong idea who the God of the Bible is, guess what? You'll continue to need help because you created who that is instead of subjecting yourself to who this is from Scripture. The Creator here is the one you look to for help. This is a wise and God-glorifying move on the part of the psalmist here in this verse. He seeks help from the Creator himself. He looks to the sovereign to help him. Listen to how Isaiah chapter 40 verses 12 and following describe him, who the psalmist says is my help. He is the maker here of heaven and earth, and that makes a difference. That comes up in Isaiah 40. He says this, who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand and marked off the heavens by the span and calculated the dust by the measure and weighed the mountains in a balance and the hills in a pair of scales? Who has directed the Spirit of the Lord, or as his counselor has informed him? With whom did he consult? Who gave him understanding? Who taught him in the path of justice? Who taught him knowledge and informed him in the way of understanding? Behold, the nations are like a drop from a bucket and are regarded as a speck of dust on the scales. What's Isaiah doing? He's speaking of the greatness of God. He's showing us that there's no one comparable to him. Bring those truths from Isaiah to the Psalm. Are you going to look to the nation for help? The nation's like a drop in the bucket to God, like a speck of dust on the scales. Who's going to help the nation? Are you going to look to an angel for help? No angel marked off the heavens. No angel calculated the dust of the earth and weighed the mountains. Only Yahweh, God, created the heavens and stretched them out, spreading out the earth and its offspring and giving breath to its people. Isaiah 42, verse 5. Why then would you, Christian, why would you look to someone or something inferior to help you? And think that you're going to find what will satisfy you and give you peace and give you comfort in that moment. Why is it that you still lack peace and comfort? Look, in this psalm, the psalmist is going straight to the primary source. He's going to him who is superior for his help. No inferior source is going to satisfy him. No inferior source is going to bring confidence to him. No inferior source is going to bring lasting peace. His eyes here look for help from the one who's not constrained by creation or threatened by creation or even subject to creation. He looks to him who made creation, who rules creation, for his help. Friend, when you ask that question of verse 1, from where shall my help come? And your answer is there in verse 2. My help comes from, who do you answer with? What do you answer with in that moment? It's easy to sit in church and say, well, Pastor, my help comes from the Lord. But does it? Is that where you're looking? Maybe that's what your mouth confesses this morning, but what does your mind reason to be your help when you need help? Where do your eyes turn to look for help in that moment? Where do you turn to go for help first and most often? Do you look for divine help or earthly help? Do you look for the Creator's help or creation's help? Do you look for God's help or do you look for man's help? That difference may explain the cause of your continued stress and anxiety and worry, and you're lacking genuine peace. There's only one source of help who can be your light and salvation, in your hiding place, in your refuge, in your fortress, in your strength. Only one who can perfectly instruct you. Only one who can absolutely preserve you secure forever. Would you note the text? My help comes from the Lord. Spurgeon said, "We are bound to look beyond heaven and earth to him who made them both. It is vain to trust the creatures. It is wise to trust the Creator." Christian, there's no doubt in your journey you are going to need help. Would you allow Psalm 121 to instruct you and cause you to consider that question? Are you looking for help in creation, or are you looking for help beyond creation? The godly creature's help is found in the Almighty Creator. Number 2, why is the Lord superior to any other source of help? He is the capable caretaker. That's verse 3. My help comes from the capable caretaker. Verse 3, he will not allow your foot to slip. A stumbling foot, a slipping foot expresses a real danger all throughout the Psalms. This shows up again and again. It's a present danger for a sojourner. It means more than just your foot slips in some sense. It expresses tragedy and disaster and trouble that's come to your life. But what does the psalmist say? He will not allow your foot to slip. Remember Hannah's words as she's praising God after Samuel's birth, 1 Samuel 2:9. He keeps the feet of his godly ones. He keeps the feet of his godly ones. She's absolutely sure when she's looked at all the difficulty that she's faced, and then when the Lord has blessed her with a child, she can confess this truth that she knows is absolutely certain. He keeps the feet of his godly ones. The whole picture here from the psalm or even Hannah, the picture is like the parent who takes the toddler by his outstretched arms to help the toddler to walk, knowing his feet are not steady. You know he could easily go down. You know he could easily fall and hurt himself, but he is secure and his foot will not slip because why? You are securing him. You're holding him up as he's walking. The psalmist is not a toddler here, but he has the same sense of falling on this journey that he's on. A sojourner is mindful that his or her life could turn to tragedy in an instant, and disaster could occur as they slip and fall in all sorts of situations. But the pilgrim is singing here, Psalm 121, with confidence that this is not going to happen. The divine helper here of the psalmist will not allow his foot to slip. It's Proverbs 3:26. For the Lord will be your confidence and will keep your foot from being caught. It's not your own craftiness, it's not your own skill, it's not your own wisdom, it's not your own cunning, it's not your own observance of everything that you see. It's the Lord that's the reason your foot has not been caught. How many times, I wonder, when we go off to glory and we look back perhaps at this life, will we realize, oh, he kept my foot from being caught over and over and over and over again, and I didn't even know it. How can we be sure that this helper will not allow our foot to slip? Well, friend, this helper is omniscient. This helper is omniscient. He has perfect knowledge of all things that are proper objects of knowledge, including all future events. It's Isaiah again, chapter 40, verse 13. Nobody has to inform him, oh, this pilgrim here, he's at risk of slipping. Nobody has to tell him, oh, that there's danger ahead of this child of yours. He knows it perfectly. What did Isaiah ask? Who has directed the Spirit of the Lord? Or as his counselor has informed him? With whom did he consult? Who gave him understanding? Psalm 139, verse 2. He knows when you sit down. He knows when you rise up. Is there any place you're going to go that he goes, well, I didn't anticipate him going there. I didn't think he's actually going to go show up at that place. It's a dangerous place. That's the reason that he slipped. I didn't know it was going to happen. That's ridiculous. He is all-knowing God, your helper. He is also not only all-knowing, he's also near. Where can you go from his presence? That's Psalm 139, verse 7. Remember the psalmist there says, if I ascend to heaven, you're there. If I make my bed in Sheol, behold, you're there. If I take the wings of the dawn, if I dwell in the remotest part of the sea, even there your hand will lead me, and your right hand will lay hold of me. Psalm 34, verse 18, he's near to the brokenhearted and crushed in spirit. And the writer of Psalm 73:28 acknowledges the nearness of God is my good. It is good that he is near you at all times. It's good that you can't escape his presence. This helper can truly help because he's never far away from you. Even when those who sit across the table from you who desperately want to cause your foot to slip, desperately want to see your life turn into a disaster. Friend, he's there with you in that moment. Friend, who else could you find to help you in this way? Nobody's as near as the Lord is near, always there. He's also not only all-knowing, not only always there, he's powerful and able to keep the feet of his people from slipping. 1 Peter 1:5, his people are protected by the power of God. If what the psalmist is saying here in verse 3 is true, if he keeps your foot from slipping, then he must be wise. And if he keeps your foot from slipping, he must be near. If he keeps your foot from slipping, he must be powerful. And if he keeps your foot from slipping, then your helper truly cares. He loves you. Psalm 94:18, if I should say my foot has slipped, your loving kindness, O Lord, will hold me up. Who else could possibly keep your life from becoming a complete and total disaster on this journey? This is the divine helper who perfectly preserves the pilgrim as he sojourns in this life. Isn't there comfort to be found in that? Isn't there confidence to be found in that as you go forth into places you never imagined that you'd be going into, in situations you never had any idea are ahead of you? He keeps your foot from slipping. Number 3, his helper is the consummate watchman, verses 3 through 4. So he's saying, my help comes from the consummate watchman. Look at the second half of verse 3. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. In those words there, the psalmist introduces a new word to you that he uses twice here, and it's going to show up repeatedly throughout the rest of the psalm, 6 times in these final 6 verses. I don't normally do this, but I printed off. If you have an LSB, it shows up so beautifully here that there's different ways that they translate this word in different translations. The LSB just translates it keep in each time. Listen to how it shows up in verse 3. He will not allow your foot to stumble. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will not slumber and will not sleep. Verse 5, Yahweh is your keeper. Yahweh is your shade on your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh will keep you from all evil. He will keep your soul. Yahweh will, I've run out of fingers here, will keep your going out and your coming in from now until forever. I think he's trying to get a point across to us. I think he wants us to see something here when he keeps saying repeatedly this word keep. What is that word? What does it mean? Shamar. To keep, to stand guard, to protect, to watch over. The real sense of the word, I think, can be captured in the word that we have guardian. Someone who's responsible for the care of your soul here, who acts as a custodian, who guards and protects and maintains. As the Psalms, remember a moment ago, help us to understand what that word help means. So they give us a sense of what is meant by referring to the Lord as the one who keeps. Listen to Psalm 12, verse 7. He is the one who keeps, that word shows up there, by preserving his people from this generation. Psalm 16, verse 1, he keeps his people by being their refuge. Psalm 17, verse 8, he keeps them as the apple of his eye. Psalm 25, verse 20, he keeps them by guarding their soul and delivering them. Verse 34, Psalm 34, 20, he keeps all their bones so that not one of them is broken. Psalm 37, verse 28, he keeps them by preserving them forever. Psalm 41, verse 2, he protects them and keeps them alive. Psalm 91, verse 11, we looked at that last week. Even his angels are charged with keeping his people. Psalm 145, verse 20, the Lord keeps all who love him. That word keep, shamar, is even used in regards to a journey in Joshua 24, verse 17. This is what we read there. For the Lord our God is he who brought us and our fathers up out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, and who did these great signs in our sight. In most translations say preserved us. The word is keep. Who keeps us through all the way in which we went and among all the peoples through whose midst we passed. I want you to have a sense of all that is meant here when the psalmist says this about the Lord who is his helper. He is the one who keeps you in this great and majestic way in which he's the guardian of your soul. Your soul is in the custody of this divine and loving guardian. Verse 3, then look at it. He who keeps you, he will not slumber. He who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. This is around the clock. He is the watchman of your soul. Slumber is distinct there from sleep. Slumber conveys the sense of being drowsy or not alert, and you're well on your way to sleep. Some of you are there this morning. You're defining slumber for me. Some of you may be already asleep, but not the Lord. Why would you even mention this? Why would you even be talking about God being slumbering and sleeping here? Well, it's this. Because this distinguishes Yahweh the Lord from the gods of the people. The gods of the people were those gods that the people readily acknowledged needed sleep. They were drowsy and sleeping deities. It wasn't unusual to them that their God would be asleep. And you do not want to wake up a sleeping God. In the Atraphis epic around 1800 BC, the god Enlil is awakened from his sleep by humans. And guess what he does? He punishes them. Some of your kids would do that if they could when you wake them up in the morning, right? What does this God do? He demands his punishment. You're cut off from food, so there's a famine in the land. In the Enuma Elish, the god Apsu complains about his lack of sleep. Why? Because of all the noise of his offspring. Oh, the idols of the people are drowsy, sleepy, tired gods. You remember 1 Kings 18:27. Prophets of Baal were begging for Baal to answer them, and Elijah mocked them. How? He said this, call out with a loud voice, for he is a god. Either he is occupied, in the sense that he's like gone to the bathroom, or he's gone aside, or he's on a journey, or how does he end that? Or perhaps he's asleep, and he needs to be awakened. Oh, your gods are sleepy gods. Psalm 121 is making the point that the gods of the people, they may sleep, but the God of Israel, he's alert. He is awake. He is ready around the clock. Nobody is going to break into his house and steal his things because he has fallen asleep. The Lord, my helper, doesn't sleep, which means what? I can sleep. I can rest. My soul is in the custody of him who neither slumbers nor sleeps. My soul is in the custody of my guardian who doesn't grow drowsy. Children, your parents go to bed at night. Is that terrifying to you? Adults, your doctor goes to sleep and turns their phone off. Your financial advisor goes to bed. Every member of the military that's charged to protect and defend your country sleeps. The elders of your church, who are charged, Hebrews 13:17, to watch over your souls as those who will give an account, they turn in each night. Give it at different hours. Oh, friend, but your helper, here, the guardian of your soul, is a watchman par excellence. He's unlike any other here in this moment. He's not limited to an 8-hour workday, a 40-hour work week. He doesn't need a vacation. He doesn't need a sabbatical. He does not sleep. Number 4, he is the compassionate overseer, verse 5 and 6. So my help comes from the compassionate overseer. Verse 5, would you note very clear, the Lord is your keeper. We now know the definition of keeper. Voice is changing here, would you notice? Your. The psalmist is speaking here to the one reading, clearly stating that the Lord, his helper, is the guardian of your soul. He is your keeper. Verse 5 and 6, the Lord is your shade on your right hand. The sun will not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. Shade at your right hand. The soldier typically carried the shield in the left hand, leaving his right side exposed and vulnerable to attack. The psalmist is saying, his helper and the guardian of his soul is there on his most vulnerable side. A number of psalms speak of the Lord being there on the right and dealing with potential threats. Psalm 16, Psalm 109, Psalm 110. Christian, if you have a shield on your left side and the guardian of your soul is on your right side. You're more protected on the side without the shield. That's his point. Your divine guardian is there where you were most vulnerable. The Lord is your shade. The sun will not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. The strength of the sun in that part of the world is probably a lot like the strength of the sun in our part of the world. It would threaten a pilgrim on a journey. Sunstroke is real. The moon here is also mentioned. Why would you mention the moon? What kind of threat do you have from the moon? Well, it's probably used as a literary device here in which one contrasts two complementary parts, the sun and the moon, to stand for the whole. So day or night, sun in the sky or moon, the Lord is your help. He is your guardian. He covers you from threats, even when those threats are not people, even when those threats are creation itself. But who's the Lord of creation? Your keeper, your shade. Would you think for a moment about what's being said here? If this is sung on a journey, they are now singing this comforting and assuring truth to one another. They are now encouraging one another on this journey with this truth. Hey, you over there. Hey, you weary sojourner. The Lord cares for you. The Lord protects you. The Lord defends you. Number 5, he's the competent protector, verse 7. My help comes from the competent protector. Verse 7, the Lord will protect you from all evil. Now as they sing this song, they'd be telling one another, hey, remember, dear sojourner, your divine helper. He doesn't just protect you from the harsh elements of creation. He defends you and covers you and maintains you and shields you, and he keeps you from all sorts of evil. Every kind of evil. He is the helper who here is adequate and qualified to protect you from every possible kind of threat and danger. He doesn't need to consult with an expert somewhere to go, well, what's going on with this person and the kind of evil that they're doing so I'll know how to properly approach them and deal with them. He is perfectly competent. He doesn't need the opinions of everyone. He doesn't need the suggestions of anyone to deal with all these different threats. No, here he is equipped and sufficient to deal with all of them. Your helper here is a competent and skilled protector and defender. He'll protect you. Isn't that why in John 17:12 in the high priestly prayer, the Son can say that while he was with his disciples, he kept them and he guarded them, so that none perish but the son of perdition. Because Yahweh's competent to protect. And isn't that why he says to his Father in John 17:15, I do not ask that you take them out of the world, but to keep them from the evil one. Because the Lord's able to do that. He protects from all evil. No evil will befall you. Psalm 91 verse 10. Look at verse 7. He will keep your soul. What's most precious about you? Your soul. He's the guardian of your soul. Your Lord, your helper, is the keeper and guardian of your soul. Your soul's safe with him. Would you consider all of this in view of then what could you possibly be concerned about if the Lord is the keeper of your soul? He keeps all those who love him, Psalm 145 verse 20. What's going to come your way that he can't deal with? Number 6. He's the sovereign guardian. My help comes from the sovereign guardian. Final verse. Lord will guard. He'll keep your going out, your coming in from this time forth and forever. You're going out, you're coming in. Those are words describing a people on a journey. The Lord guards them. He's the one assigned to protect you. He's the one who defends you. It's his responsibility. How long will he do it? Well, the text tells you from this time forth and forever. In Hebrew, it can literally be read from now as far as the future. And how long is the future? Forever. The Lord will always guard his people. There will never be a time he's not the guardian of your soul. Forever here, he will be responsible for your care, acting as your custodian, guarding, protecting, maintaining, providing, sustaining you, watching over you, now and forevermore. What a relief for a weary pilgrim to hear. This journey on the earth is just a blip in time. He is there even after the journey ends, throughout all eternity. Philip Doddridge wrote, through each perplexing path of life, our wandering footsteps guide. Give us each day our daily bread, and clothing fit provide. Spread thy covering wings around till all our wandering cease, and at our Father's loved abode our souls arrive in peace. When you cross the river that we sang about earlier, he'll be there, and he'll continue to care for you. Christian, Psalm 121 is, again, calling your attention to the Lord, your helper. He wants that to be known. He has it there in his word. Would you think about that for a moment? Can you imagine any other little g God wanting to be called a helper? That would be an offensive title to them. It'd be demeaning to them. What they expect is what? Oh, you help them. They would never consider helping you unless you did something to earn their help. But here, Psalm 121 is the creator God of the universe who in his word is unashamed to announce, I am the helper of my people. So is it no surprise then that when you're saved, he sends the one who's called the helper to live within you? All of this says something about him. It says something about his goodness and his kindness and his glory. And all of it's on the line because he says he's your helper. You can look to him for help. Historical records note one place this psalm shows up as it regards the mission field. The missionary David Livingstone set out for Africa in 1840. The morning he left, he gathered his family there in Scotland together to worship. In that time, whenever you went on a short-term mission trip, well, there wasn't a short-term mission trip. You were thought that your family would never see you again. It's the last time you'd see your loved one. What was the psalm they chose to read for that journey? Psalm 121. In his mother-in-law's farewell letter to him, she wrote that Psalm 21 would constantly be before her as she thought about him and as she prayed for him. This is the psalm that would set that whole mission in place. This psalm makes a difference to God's people. Christian, I want to give you quickly 4 points of application. How do we live in view of what Psalm 121 teaches? How do we live in view of what Psalm 121 teaches? Number one, pray. If he is your helper, pray to your helper. Come to him as one who's needing help. I hear individual Christians that are quick to go and look for help in creation and people in all sorts of places instead of being quick to go to their Creator in prayer. The nature of you going to the Lord in prayer expresses the very words of the psalmist. He's my helper. Where am I going to go for help? Number two, learn. Learn. Learn who it is who the psalmist has become acquainted with. I hear Christians who are very acquainted with their problems. They know their problems. They have become experts in what they have been diagnosed with and what they suffer from while being far less proficient with the God of Scripture. The man who says in this text, my help comes from the Lord, and he lives it out, he goes on to tell us the reasons that he says that. He knows his God. Friend, are you more acquainted with your helper or your problem? The psalmist is more acquainted with his guardian than his problems. Number three, encourage Christians by directing them to their helper. Encourage Christians by directing them to their helper. I hear Christians often quick to refer other believers to earthly help and slow to refer them to divine help. To refer them to therapists and secular books and prescriptions and podcasts and diets and techniques and exercises and experts and on and on and on. And slow to encourage them to go to where true and lasting help is found when they are suffering. Number four, trust. Trust what you've learned here in Psalm 121. Believe that truth. Live that truth. Walk in view of that truth. There's a fifth one. I said only four. Fifth, remember. Remember. If we're to follow what the psalmist is doing here, he's remembering how faithful the Lord has been. Remembering how the Lord has helped him when his life is on the line. we're going to follow what we see here, then we're going to remember like he is remembered. What would we remember? You'd remember that your helper has rescued you. He's rescued you from sin and death, Christian. He's rescued you from hell and wrath and eternity apart from him. He's provided you, Christian, righteousness through his Son. He who made heavens and earth has made you holy. He who will not allow your foot to slip is the one who keeps you and preserves you so that you can have sure assurance. He is the one who has redeemed your soul from the pit. Friend, the guardian of your soul has sent his only begotten Son. Christ is your helper. Do you remember that? He has dealt with your greatest problem. Your helper has sent his Son. Your helper has taken your sin. Your helper has rescued you from judgment. Your helper has died in your place. Your helper has given you his righteousness. Your helper has adopted you into his family. Your helper has filled you with the Holy Spirit, who is the helper. Your helper has sanctified you, making you more like his Son. The helper has prepared good works for you to walk in. The helper has promised that this total work he's going to complete in your life, it will be a good work. He started it. He's promised to complete it. So as we close our time together, and again, we've turned our attention to the Lord who is our helper, would you remember this morning, no one has ever helped you like him. Would you pray with me? Father, thank you for Psalm 121. The church in glory will stand as a testament to what we see here in Psalm 121, that you graciously and lovingly help your people. Your Son on the cross bears witness that you help your people. Father, we've been reminded this morning that forever you help us. Forever you are the guardian of our soul. And that means that forever we are humbled and we are grateful. Pray that Psalm 121 leads this church and guides this church to you, our helper in this journey that is going to take us all the way home where we will be with you forever. Our prayer this morning for those that have gathered here who are lost, who are separated from you, apart from Christ. Our prayer is that they would hear the good news from the psalm. Their help comes from the Lord, not their good works, but from you who has sent his only begotten Son, a sacrifice for sin. Father, would you help them to repent? Would you help them to trust Jesus? Our prayer is that they may come to you this morning and ask for your help to save them. Lord, we know that you're capable and we know that you're able. We know that you know all things. Would you demonstrate your grace and mercy this morning to help them to see you're helping the sinner with their greatest problem there as they look to Christ on the cross. May you apply Psalm 121 to our hearts this morning and our minds, and may we as a church live in view of it to the glory of your great name.